Good morning and welcome to another edition of our Community Affairs show here at Radio 1 DC stations. We're going to talk about some hard-hitting issues this morning with our black men in the areas of academics and sports. And here to talk about that is Archie Beslow. Now, this man is many things. He's a police officer with DC Metropolitan Police Department, but he also is over Coach2Mentor, a program that's helping student athletes develop and build confidence and challenge their talents and abilities. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great.
Tell us about Coach2Mentor.
Basically, Coach2Mentor is something that I launched based off of me watching kids and coaches over the years and parents. A lot of our coaches and parents put a lot of emphasis on sports. And I got tired of it because I would see a lot of other young men that weren't actually very athletic, and a lot of young ladies too that weren't athletic, and they were kind of put on the what we call the back burner or on the bench. They didn't get as much love as our prominent athletes. The way the world is going today is we need to focus on all our kids, not just our kids that are athletes. We need to start uplifting our A students. We actually need to start uplifting our E students, and our students are getting Fs. There's no more putting the A students on the pedestal and kind of frowning on what went wrong with our E students. Now start uplifting our E and F students because you never know what's going to come out of it.
So with Coach2Mentoring, specifically, what are some things that you do in this program?
Basically what I do is I like to meet with family and the family along with their kids to just talk about where did they go wrong or what can I help to do to get them on the right course. And a lot of times our parents don't listen to their kids. You know, parents, we're always kind of like directing our kids to do what we want them to do all the time. From the ages of 4 on, kids are very intelligent. You'd be surprised. You can have a decent conversation with a 4-year-old.
What is the website?
Yes, ma'am. The website is Coach2Mentor.com, COCH, the number 2, mentor, MENTOR.com. Basically, my website is just, it's like a quick reference. I have pledges on my website. I have inspirational messages. I just want to draw people to my website, not so much to uplift me, but just to uplift themselves.
During your mentoring, you use a formula called PASS. What's PASS?
Yes, ma'am. PASS is prayer, academic, structure, and success. And I believe if we use that formula as parents and as coaches, it'll be a roadmap to get our kids on point.
So while doing this and coaching the kids, are there actual games that they're playing, or how is that?
I've talked to young ladies that play basketball, guys that play football. Like I said, I'm a coach. The reason why I coach is to get people close to academics. That's all. I can care less about my wins and my losses. I realize in this world that being a coach, you can really touch a lot of kids and a lot of families. I have sons of my own, and I watch my sons come up through coaches that use a lot of profanity, parents talking behind my back about my kids because my kid was maybe better than their child, and I just got tired of it. So I just want to change the way of thinking for coaches and parents.
Are you from D.C.?
Actually, I am, yes. I grew up in Southeast Washington, D.C.
And then you went on to join the police department?
Yes.
For 18 years, over 18 years?
It's 24 plus now. I'm going to my 24th year.
Wow. So I'm assured that, being a police officer and seeing the different changes throughout the D.C. area, you saw a lot with our youth.
Yes, ma'am.
And that added to your passion in starting this organization?
Yes, ma'am.
What was that initial push that made you feel like I really got to do something about that?
It was definitely me dealing with my kids. Like I said, I'm a father. I grew up in Southeast, so I know about the streets. And I wanted to move my sons away from the negativity. So, we use sports as an outlet. But when you see these coaches are like, using favoritism towards their own sons, or they're like walking around with their chests out talking about how good they are as coaches, I just wanted to be different. I wanted to uplift the small kid that really didn't want to play football, and his daddy's like making him play football. No, he's on my team because I want to give him love. I want to give him direction, give him insight. I want to make that kid a strong young man, whether he's going to be a football player or a violinist. We have to stop just focusing on people that we know already have it and start helping these kids that are trying to get it.
What do you feel about people who feel like, and even kids, the only way out is sports, or parents who push their children so hard in that area, and you're seeing that they're falling short of their academics?
I think it's a comfort zone. When I do my motivational speaking, when I speak, we have to stop being comfortable. Athletics is comfortable because you got to think about it. If a kid is playing sports, Well, that child is in his comfort zone, and the parent is comfortable because the parent don't really have to do anything, but actually take this kid to a trainer or let the kid utilize the talents that he already has. So now mom and dad just sit back. So we're doing as parents, we're getting comfortable.
Do you think that the students really realize the real outcome of going into the sports arena? I mean, when you look at it, if you're able to even make it on the college team, and then if even a greater hurdle, if you're able to make it professionally, you don't even have that many years that you're going to be playing.
There's nothing guaranteed in sports. I can't say that enough. There's no guarantee. There is guarantee in getting your college degree, getting your high school diploma. There's a guarantee because at that point you have something that's tangible. No one can take that away from you. When I talk to these young kids, I would stand one of my good athletes, I'll stand him up, and I have a not-so-great athlete stand beside him. And basically what I say is, if this guy, he'll score like 10 touchdowns a game, and this little kid may never step on the field. But this little kid here may become a CEO of a major company, maybe a teacher, a judge, a professor, what have you, where this young man might get hurt. So think about it now, he's hurt, and he was like an average student. He probably got like C's or D's or just barely made the grade. I have a problem with these schools telling these kids they have to get a 2.0. It's crazy. They play sports.
Why do you have a problem with that?
Because I think we need to start setting the bar higher.
Okay.
2.5 or above. Let's stop making academics let's stop making sports in the forefront. Let's put academics, stress making these kids get 2.5s or better.
Idea behind that is because of the money factor. Because schools get more money, the better their teams are. We see that with colleges and university. You can see the whole look of a campus increase as the team, does even better with each season. How do you balance that? Because some may argue, well, at least, it's passing, and we're able to do more for the school and for other students by that.
I can turn this into a very, very deep conversation. Once again, I think we're settling. I think we're comfortable. I think the powers that be are putting us in situations where we can do the bare minimum to make them rich.
What is your opinion on students being paid for their performance when colleges and universities are making money off of it?
That's a great debate as well. I can see both sides of that because what we don't want to do is we don't want to start paying. That's going to make it even more of a problem because now if you start paying college athletes, so the problem that we're actually having now is going to be worse.
Right.
So we have to realize they're still kids. Even if they're in high school, even if they're in college, they're still kids. Mm-hmm. They're young men and young women in college. But if you start putting the price tag and money, it's going to be crazy. So you're going to have even more problems.
Right, absolutely. Now, within your program, you have Read Before Contact. What is that?
Wow. Read Before Contact came to me. It was on my heart one day. I was at practice, and a dad pulled me to the side and said that he was going to take his son off the team because he wasn't doing well in school. So I said, Dad, what's the problem? He said, well, he never reads. I said, well, anyone at home sitting and reading with him? Well, I don't really have the time to do this. So that day, I had a book in my car. I went to my car, and I stopped practicing. I had everybody sit down on the side of the hill, and I let this kid read the book. So my coaches was looking at me like, well, what are we doing? We got to practice. I said, man, I could care less about practice today. We're all going to sit on the hill and let this young man read in front of his peers. So mind you, the young man read the book, and I wasn't trying to embarrass the kid, but I just wanted to see where I can start with uplifting him, his confidence in reading. So he read, and he was kind of stumbling over his words, and his dad was looking at me like I'm putting his son on the spot. But I told his dad, I said, just trust me. So that day was like a trial. So the following Monday, I told all the kids to bring books. Everybody bring a book to practice on Monday. So I had every last one of my football players read, and what you found out was there were a lot of kids that couldn't read. You had some kids that were great readers. So my 8 student kids, the young man's name was Jalen. I had Jalen come up front. Jalen's just very smart. So Jalen read his book, articulated, and it was great. Mind you, Jalen wasn't the kid that got a lot of playing time on the football field. Mm. So what I did with Jalen, I said, Jalen, I want you to start doing this. I want you to start going around and helping your fellow teammates with their reading. He was like, bet, coach, bet. I mean, this young man's eyes lit up for the mere fact that he was able to go help other people. So long story short, as the season went on, all my kids that was reading on like a low reading level, man, them guys began reading like exceptionally well. They actually started asking me, Coach Archie, do we have to just do read before contact on Mondays? Can we do it like twice a week?
Wow.
And all that type of stuff. Right, and what happened was I made reading cool.
Wow,
Coach Archie got us reading, man. It's real cool. So now everybody's trying to impress Coach Archie with their reading. Coach Archie, can I read 3 paragraphs? Can I read 4? So the momentum started just like carrying over. And I also do school visits every Monday and Tuesday. I go in kids' classrooms. I sit in their classroom the entire day.
Really?
And yeah.
Wow. So what's been the reaction of parents? I'm sure some were in favor, some were not, because, they send their children to you for certain reasons.
Well, now that's my MO. I'm Coach Archie. Everybody loves to play for Coach Archie. It's like they come to the organization. Well, what age group Coach Archie coaching this year? What age group? And I love that because that means I'm doing something different. I'm hoping that other coaches will actually latch on to what I'm doing. I just want to give back. I want to change the culture of a coach in youth sports. I want it to be more so of academics, raising these young men and young women to be, peers in their communities, raising them to be someday good parents or good business owners or good managers. So that's my mindset. And in the interim, I'm still winning games. I'm like probably one of the most successful sports coaches in the area because of my philosophies I give to these kids.
After this example that you've been setting, do you have any of your colleagues that have kind of followed in your steps or want to pick it up or want to, but they're like, I don't know if I have time for that?
I get that all the time. There are a lot of coaches that try to mirror what I do, and it's kind of cool. They kind of put me on this sort of pedestal of, oh, Coach Archie, you're doing great things. I say, don't make it about Coach Archie doing great things. I'm trying to lead by example. I want you guys to pick up on some of the things I'm doing. I don't want it to be, I'm doing this and everybody else doing what they want to do. No, I try to implement what I do. Which brings me to a point I made the other day. The culture in the classrooms would change if parents start using some of their leave and sit in these classrooms, We have 2 weeks of leave in some cases. So if all the parents come together and have a rotating system where at least one parent is sitting in somebody's classroom, guess what? The troublemaking kid is not going to disrespect Tony's mother because they boys.
Right.
So now it's going to be like, oh, wow, Tony's mother's in here today. Let me be on my best behavior. It's something small. It's a small step, but it can really grow to be something real large.
Absolutely. The Parent, the Coach, the Mentor is a book written by Archie Beslow. The foreword is by Mayor Vincent Gray. Congratulations on your book. Can you tell us about your book?
Basically, my book is what I want to call a go-to manual for parents, coaches, and student athletes. I have scenarios in there. I have stories in there, ways of how people are doing it wrong in youth sports, and I'm giving you some kind of insight on how you should do it. I touch on coaching. I touch on referees. I touch on parents dropping kids off on the field. Also, there's a story in there about a young man by the name of Daquan. Daquan was a special needs kid. Daquan didn't speak. He had a lot of great disabilities. And what I did with Daquan is, once you read the story, you'll see what I'm talking about. I made Daquan a part of the team. What had happened was his mom and dad wanted him just to be around his peers. I said, no, ma'am. I said, if he's going to play for Coach Archie, he's going to be a part of the team. And I made Daquan my kicker. He was actually kicking the ball off. So they wanted me to be like, well, let the other team know that he's, so they want. No, I'm not doing nothing special for Daquan. He's going to be a part of the team. And what I did was I had one kid was kind of like his so-called bodyguard on the field.
Right.
My man Daniel. I said, Daniel, whatever you do, don't let nobody put their hands on Daquan. So Daniel stepped up to the challenge. Whenever Daquan would kick the ball off, Daniel would make sure he's standing right in front of Daquan and take on any oncoming blockers or tacklers or what have you.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
But you know what? That teaches kids responsibility also.
Yes, ma'am.
And that goes back to I am my brother's keeper.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's a great, natural way to show what that means. What happens with the relationship between the students that you coach? Have you seen something great in those relationships? Oh,
it's awesome. I mean, I have kids call me on a regular basis. I can be anywhere. Kids will run up to me, Coach Archie, Coach Archie. I even have parents that call me like at 2 o'clock in the morning, man, you better come get him. And it's dads. You better come get this. I'm going to kill him. Right. So I'll get out of my bed, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll go pick the kid up. I either talk to him at home in their house or we just take a ride. And I'm a 24/7 coach.
Wow.
Call me. Because I'm just trying to save kids, as many kids as I possibly can.
You say in your book that the book is meant to have you ask yourself, what am I doing to help the growth and movement of our student athletes on and off the field of play? Let me ask you, what are we doing wrong?
I keep using this word comfortable. I think we're very comfortable with how we're raising our kids. And the word comfortable means we're not, in years past, a lot of us had struggle. I just don't think our young men and our young women have a lot of struggle. I know mom and dad want to make sure our kid has the best, and that's cool, but we have to teach some form of struggle. And without struggle, there won't be any success.
I always definitely say that. I think a part of the problem with our young people is, though, they know there's a lot of adversities from them, but when you give them everything all the time, it doesn't force them to want to go for more. You talk on a lot of different topics. You travel a lot and you do a lot of seminars. And you're talking about bullying is one of the issues that you discuss. What is it about bullying that you address?
I just ask why. I'll identify a quote-unquote young man or young lady that's a bully, and I'll just ask them why. And what you learn is a lot of bullies, they're actually doing it for attention, or something may have. And it goes back to having conversations with your kids at home. So a lot of kids are not getting that attention at home, so now they go seek it elsewhere. And we all know in school, if you're either a great athlete or you're one of the tough kids or you're one of the pretty young ladies or you're one of the handsome young men, well, you're going to get all the attention. But guess what? No one is really uplifting that kid that's the valedictorian or the guy that got an A++ on his science project. So now that kid is like, I'm a nerd. I'm getting good grades. I'm a nerd. So what I want to do is I want to identify bullies and try to even change their culture, have them actually start uplifting the A student kid. So if the bully partner up with the A student kid, that's going to make everybody cool. Everything we do in life with our youth is learned behavior. So I'm just trying to change the demographics, the culture, the mindset of every youth, every coach, and every parent I come in contact with.
How long have you had this organization?
This organization was launched maybe about 4 weeks ago, but I've been doing it all my life. I just actually given it a title. I've probably been doing it for like 15 or some odd years.
That's amazing.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, congratulations to you on that. We're glad to have you, on the show and talking about it. And, I hope word spreads and you just get an abundance of kids in your program. How many students do you normally take on?
Whoever comes. I have no limit. The thing about me, I'm not looking for this to be a business. I'm really looking for this to be a movement. So if I get 100 kids at one point, I'm going to talk to 100 kids. If I get one kid, whether it be for an hour, 5 hours, a week, I'm giving my time to these kids, to our youth, young men and young women.
Young men and young women.
Yes, ma'am.
What is it that we can do to help our young people? Do you believe that it's programs like this that can really reach the masses?
Yes, I do. Yes, ma'am. What we have to start doing, again, like when we came up, we ate dinner at 6 o'clock. There was a lot of structure in our household. Even the single parents. A lot of people say, well, I'm a single parent, mom, I'm a single. Once again, that's comfortable. That's a comfortable excuse. No, let's start giving our kids something to do. We had to be in the house when the street lights came on. The light came on at 7. You had to be in the house. So there was structure inside of our house with our kids until they became adults. Now kids are like, you tell your mom and dad, well, I'm going to go over to somebody's house. I'm going to go up the street, and it's accepted. Mm-hmm. So the parents have to start grabbing it, reel your kids back in. You start dictating what your young man or your young lady is doing in their household. Dictate it. Because what happened is our kids, they're not that smart. They're going to go out here. They're going to be in situations without even knowing that they're in that situation. Now, mind you, I don't know what happened in those situations when the young man got shot, or even the Trayvon Martin. I don't know the facts. But what I do know, what we can do as parents is to really grab our kids, love our kids unconditionally. If the kids say, well, Mom, bored, I'm going to go, okay, let's go to the movies. Let's go to the library. Start having dates with your kids. Don't let your kid date society. Don't let your kids be real tight with their peers. We knew everybody our kids hung out with. Our parents knew all our friends. The parents now don't even know who your kid is hanging out with. Ma, I'll be back. Dad, I'll be back. That's a problem. And
we're saying that the issue needs to be confronted in the home first.
In the home first, yes, ma'am.
And so let's move on into the classroom. Mm-hmm. Where do you think that in some ways schools have also failed our children?
I don't want to use the word fail. What I do want to use is I want to use more like joint efforts. I really also think not all teachers, so I don't want anybody to look at me sideways, but I think we are really falling when it comes to bringing the parent, the teacher, and the students together.
That village.
Right, the whole village. And what's the problem with, you see it on the movies all the time. You see that this lady, she'll leave the school and go to the house and talk to the mom and the dad. I mean, you don't have to go to that extreme, but let's just don't have structured PTA meetings. As a teacher, I challenge all teachers to just go out of the box. Every Wednesday or every Friday, just have open house for the parents to come and just talk to you about their kids. You randomly call the parents. When the kid is doing great, call that parent and say, oh, man, little Tracy had an E, but now she has a C. So now when the young lady come home, the mom said, I got a call from your teacher. She said, you're doing real well. We need to change the dynamics on how we appreciate our kids. Our kids need more love than the adults do.
Does this make you more compassionate when you're out in the streets as an officer and you're seeing so much going on with our young people? Sometimes, you got to discipline them. You have to do what you have to do, but that there's a story behind what's really going on.
Yes, man. And that's what I do. I talk to kids. I'm a child myself. That's why I'm able to reach. And don't get me wrong, I really believe God put me on this earth to be a mentor to kids. And I know it's not all me, because there are a lot of things I say to these young men and young women. I know it's coming from, up above. And I'm not here to preach religion, spirituality. I'm just telling you my walk. I'm getting it from him. And when I talk to these young men and young women, things just seems to flow. And kids, a young man and a young lady know when an adult is very genuine.
Right.
And when these parents come across to being genuine and these coaches, kids are going to open up. What I do a lot of times, I let the child speak. I say, look, I want you to tell me whatever you want to tell me, and I'm not going to say anything back. And they be like, Coach Archie, are you serious? I'm your sponge. You talk to me, get whatever you want to get off your chest, and that's where it stays. And you'd be surprised at the things that I will carry to my grave that these kids tell me about what goes on in their lives. So what I do is I listen to what they tell me, and I try to do what I can do best to reshape that child and give the parents a little tidbits without telling what the young man or young lady told me. So maybe an antenna and a parent would be like, okay, wow, I didn't know this.
People are always like, I don't know what's going on with these kids. You talk to them. What are some things that you think they would say, if they were able to have an open mic about what's really going on with their generation?
Mommy, daddy, give me a hug. Mommy, daddy, tell me you love me. Mommy, daddy, when I fall, expect me to fall, but every time I fall, I want you to be there to pick me up.
Wow.
Dad, just come to my games. Don't say a word, even if I mess up or do great. Just give me a hug. Just dap me up. Let's go hang out. Let's go get something to eat.
Some of these parents are taking these games a lot more serious than the children. I mean, we're seeing, I promise you, I went on YouTube, saw clips of the parents fighting.
It's crazy.
What is that about?
Once again, meal ticket, living vicariously through your child.
You see that a lot.
It's crazy. Now, mind you, I get it. I get the excitement. I get you want your young man or your young lady to be the best they can be. I get it. But what you don't realize, a young man and a young lady is not as mature as adults are. So they're not receiving what you're trying to give. Your aptitude of your reaction is as an adult. You have to come down to the kids. Like when my sons make mistakes, I laugh. I say, man, you look terrible out there today. Now, mind you, my insides is like, I can't believe he did what he did. But no, me as a parent, as a coach, man, you look real funny out there today. Just like with a young lady. And I coached young ladies basketball, and that was the best experience in coaches I ever had in my life, because the young women, they are sponges. They love the fundamentals. They kept me on point. But parents, just go and just be a part of your young man or your young lady's experience while they're playing sports. Just be a part of it.
Because they want to do better. They want to do more. They want to exceed.
They want to impress you. They want to impress mom and dad. They don't want mom. By the time a kid get in the car, the father's talking to the kid about everything you need to do up until that sport, till you get to the game. So once you're at the game, so now dad is talking to you going home.
Right.
It's like, wow, man, it's just a game. It's okay.
Do many of them feel like it's too much pressure?
A lot of kids feel like it's too much pressure. I only allow my parents to talk to the kids I coach.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
I know that's been very hard for some of them.
But now, my sidelines, I have the perfect sidelines. I have other coaches say, man, how are your sidelines so calm? I say because the parents believe in me. They trust me, because I go beyond what's going on this field.
Wow. And how has the skill set of the kids changed even within the sports?
The kids are great. I have kids going on at D1 sports. I have kids getting scholarships to these local public private high schools because of the culture that I'm building young men and young women. I'm not building athletes.
I think that's the key.
Yeah, and then the athleticism is going to come. If they're smart, if they can play a little bit of sports, then they're going to be fine. Because guess what's going to happen? So they're going to go on their own and start researching their own sports. They're going to start looking into it themselves.
What's a success story that really stands out in the time that you've been doing this?
I have a young man by the name of Braden Domino. I had this young man at the age of 8. He wasn't one of the best kids on the field, but I saw something in him. I said, you know what, I'm going to make you my team captain. So all the other kids, the so-called kids that can get it, they looking at me like, well, Coach Archie, well, I'm not the captain. I said, nah, Domino's going to be a captain. But long story short, as time went on, Domino became that kid. Now, mind you, Domino is an all-A student. He makes all A's. He's always getting the great certificates. What I love about Domino, his story is actually in my book. He stayed humble. And me and him had dialogue all through his life. He would call me and ask me things. And I would tell him all the time, man, I'm proud of you. I said, I want you to be different. Not different on the field. I want you to be different in life. I want you to say, yes, ma'am, no, sir. I want you to hold doors for the young ladies. I want you to say thanks all the time. I just want you to be different. Be a young adult male. And now the kid is one of the highly sought after football players in the country.
Wow. Well, congratulations to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Definitely on that. And I hope that, your success continues. We're coming to the end of the interview, and I can't stand it because we're learning so much. But, book is out. The Parent, the Coach, the Mentor by Archie Beslow, a forward by Mayor Vincent Gray. You got the mayor to do the forward for you? How awesome was that?
Yeah, it's great. Yes,
what is something that you want to leave with our audience?
I encourage you guys to go check out my website. You can go to archiebeslow.com. There's a lot of insight. I have a lot of instruction. I have a lot of how-to on my website. And let's change the culture of how we actually treat our young men and young women. We want to prepare them for life, not so much of athletics in life, but just life. Because around every corner, our kids are going to face a challenge. And we want to make sure that they're armed with all the ammunition they can possibly have to succeed.
Do you think that it's too much pressure that we're putting on our athletes that have made it pro to be mentors and to be role models? Because many of them, they made it to this level, but a lot of them didn't have the guidance that they needed. I always say, don't let your talent take you somewhere that your character can't handle.
Right. My definition of a mentor is simply as this. Everyone can't be a mentor. The guys that are in the pros, they had their challenges and their struggles as well. So I don't expect them to be role models. I don't expect them to be mentors. Once again, we're trying to tell someone what they should be. And that's the problem we have with our kids. We keep telling our kids what they should be. Allow our kids to figure out what they want to be. And then you kind of help them along. A mentor to me is somebody that genuinely cares no matter what. They're open 24 hours a day, whether it's a young man or a young lady, to give some type of insight and some type of advice and a whole bunch of praise. And all the criticism needs to stop on the youth level.
Well, you said it there. Archie Beslow, Coach2Mentor. His mission is to help student athletes develop, build confidence, and challenge their talents and abilities. Congratulations to you. Now, can people buy the book on your website?
Yes, ma'am, they can.
Okay, well, go to the website and make sure you check it out and support this brother who is doing great things. To our audience, thank you for tuning in to another edition of our Community Affairs show here at Radio 1 DC Stations. I've enjoyed being your host this morning. I'm Ebony McMorris, your News and Community Affairs Director. If you want to get at me, you can email me at McMorris, that's McMorris, at radio-one.com. Until next weekend, have a blessed week.